Hello, this is a factoring by grouping review, and when we have four terms is when we see if we can do factoring by grouping. And so when we've got our four terms, we group together the first two, we group together the last two, and we see what greatest common factor we can take out. For this first example, out of the first two, what they have in common is p. So we can take a p out, and then I'm dividing each of these first two terms by p. So if I have 2p squared and I divide out p, I'm left with 2p plus 5p, divide out the p, I just have 5. Then whatever sign you have right here, you just copy down. Now out of the last two, I can take out a 3. 3 goes into 6 and 15. So I'm dividing by 3, dividing by 3, and then that will be 2p plus 5. Remember that what you have in the parentheses should be the same, otherwise something's gone wrong. So you'll write that down, the part that's in the same, the part that's the same in the two parentheses, 2p plus 5. And then your other parentheses will be these outside factors, p plus 3. And then it's factored. And of course you can check that by multiplying it back out. You should get back to what you started with if it's correct. Next example is 12a squared minus 9a plus 4a minus 3. So we group together the first two, we group together the last two. Out of the first two, I can divide, always look at your coefficients, I can divide 3 into 12 and 9. And they both have a's, I can divide out an a. So I'm dividing out 3a. You're doing the distributive property in reverse here. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 2 a's, take one out, you've got one left, minus 9 divided by 3 is 3, and the a's are gone. And it's a plus. Out of these last two, there's not really anything you can divide out, 4 and 3, but you have to put down something. So you put down the 1. They both divide by 1. And when you divide by 1, you still have 4a minus 3. Then what you have in parentheses should always be the same, and you'll write that down, 4a minus 3. And then the other parentheses will be the 3a plus 1. That one's done. The next one is m squared plus 2m minus m minus 2. So we're grouping together the first two and the last two. Out of the first two, I can take out an m. So we'll divide by m. And that will leave me with m plus 2. Then here's a minus, so I write down a minus. M and 2, the only thing they have in common is a 1. Now be really careful when it's minus. What you're dividing is a negative 1. You've taken out a negative 1. So negative divided by negative is a positive. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then what's in parentheses is the same, m plus 2. And the other parentheses will be m minus 1. Couple more. Five n cubed minus 10n squared plus 3n minus 6. Group together the first two and the last two. So out of the first two, I can take a 5. 5 goes into 5 and 10. And this one has 3 n's, this one has 2 n's. So I can take out n squared. So I'm dividing by 5n squared. So 5 divided by 5 is just 1. If I had 3 n's and I took 2 of them out, I have 1 left, minus 10 divided by 5 is 2, and we've divided out the n squared. And it's a plus, so I'll write a plus. 3n and 6 both divide by 3. So I'm dividing by 3, and that will leave me with n minus 2. These are the same. So n minus 2, and then the outside numbers, 5n squared plus 3. Okay, let's do one more. 3n cubed plus 9n minus 4n squared minus 12. Group together the first two and the last two. So out of the first two, I can divide out a 3 and also an n. Dividing by 3n. Had 3 n's, I divided 1 out, so I've got 2 left. 9 divided by 3 is 3, the n is gone. It's a minus, so I'm going to write down a minus. And 4 and 12 both divide by 4. The 4 has an n, but the 12 doesn't. So then we're left with n squared. Oh, be careful, I almost messed up the signs. It's a minus, so I'm really dividing by a minus 4. So negative divided by negative is a positive n squared. Negative divided by negative is a positive 3. So one parentheses is, one term is n squared plus 3, and the outside's 3n minus 4.